The first 7 months of 2026 witnessed some of the most significant Supreme Court rulings in recent years. So let's take a look at 12 most important Supreme Court judgments from January to July 2026. Right to menstrual health is part of Article 21. In Jaya Thakur vs. Union of India, the Supreme Court held that menstrual health is an integral part of the right to life under Article 21. Passive euthanasia and right to die with dignity. Reaffirming patient autonomy, in Harish Rana vs. Union of India, the court strengthened the legal framework governing passive euthanasia and end-of-life choices. Right to walk declared a fundamental right. Recognizing the needs of millions of pedestrians, the Supreme Court in Manya Elias vs. P.I. Yappan ruled that the right to walk safely forms part of the right to life under Article 21. The judgment is expected to influence urban planning, road safety, and public infrastructure policies nationwide. APAR scheme, parents get the right to refuse. In Abhishek Bakshi vs. Union of India, a major privacy and data protection ruling, the court directed that APAR consent forms must contain an opt-out option and gave parents the right to withhold consent. It emphasized that student data can only be collected, processed, and shared in accordance with the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Adoptive mothers entitled to equal maternity benefits. Recognizing the motherhood of adoptive mothers, the court in Hamsa Nandini Nanduri vs. Union of India held that adoptive mothers cannot be treated differently from biological mothers for maternity benefits. The court also urged the government to come up with a provision recognizing paternity leave as a social security benefit. Protection and rehabilitation of human trafficking survivors. In a victim-centric decision, the court in Prajwala vs. Union of India stressed rehabilitation, reintegration, compensation, and dignity for survivors of trafficking, calling for a more coordinated institutional response. Transgender candidate allowed to apply for teaching post. Reaffirming the principles laid down in Nalsa vs. Union of India, the Supreme Court in Jain Kaushik vs. State NCT of Delhi allowed a transgender candidate to apply for a teaching post and held that discrimination based on gender identity violates constitutional guarantees and cannot be used to deny employment opportunities. Supreme Court restricts sharing of court videos on social media. In Harshita Grover vs. Union of India, addressing the misuse of judicial proceedings online, the court prohibited unauthorized uploading, editing, reposting, monetization, and circulation of court videos while protecting legitimate reporting by recognized media organizations. Supreme Court recommends Romeo-Juliet exception under POCSO. In State of UP vs. Anirudh, criminalization of consensual adolescent relationships was highlighted, and consideration of a Romeo and Juliet exception for teenagers close in age was recommended. Anticipatory bail cannot ordinarily be time-bound. In Sumit vs. State of UP, it was ruled that anticipatory bail should generally not be subjected to arbitrary time restrictions unless exceptional circumstances justify. Forest land cannot be diverted for non-forestry purposes. Standing up for environmental protection, the court in State of Karnataka vs. Gandhi Jeevan Collective Farming Cooperative Society Limited reiterated that forest land cannot be diverted for non-forestry activities without strict compliance with statutory and environmental safeguards, reinforcing the principle of sustainable development. Supreme Court issues draft AI guidelines for courts. Supreme Court for the first time issued draft AI guidelines for courts and proposed a comprehensive framework governing the use of artificial intelligence in courts, focusing on transparency, accountability, privacy protection, and meaningful human oversight. Which of these judgments do you think will have the greatest long-term impact on India? Read the detailed report of these headlines only on SEC Times.